Headlines of a looming recession can be a scary thing if you're in the market to buy a new home. And lately we've seen a lot of headlines telling us a recession is coming. And I'm sure it will. Recessions are a regular, recurring event. But history has shown us the housing market usually fares pretty well in a recession. Hi, I'm Bob.Woolverton. I'm with Pure Real Estate in Bellevue, Washington. Here on YouTube, I'm known as your Northwest Realty Advisor. I know you're already thinking about the 2008 housing crash, and you probably already think I'm crazy. But when we come back in 8 seconds, I'll explain why I say a recession isn't fatal for the housing market. So stick around. Today I want to address the headlines about a recession and the effect it'll have on the housing market, and then I'll show you what's happening in our local real estate market. Now, we've all seen the recent headlines related to a recession. I've done videos about the topic right here on this channel. The odds are a recession is coming. They always do. Just like the stock market goes up and the stock market goes down. It's just that when it comes to a recession, economists differ on their predictions on when a recession will occur. It's a normal recurring cycle. So yes, it's very likely a recession will happen again. But that doesn't mean it'll be a disaster for the housing market. First off, before we get deep into this, let's have a common definition for what a recession is. And that is, a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of negative economic growth as measured by a country's gross domestic product, or GDP. Now, back in March of 2019, I posted a video titled Market Update: Will a Recession Cause a Crash in the Seattle Housing Market? In that video, I showed you this graph from Fred, the Federal Reserve's website for economic data. And on this chart, the vertical gray bars are periods of recession. Some recessions were short in duration and others were a little longer. Now, the blue line is the National Home Price Index. In my March video, I showed you that the national average of home prices during the 1980 recession still appreciated by 6.1%. In the 1981 recession, home prices still appreciated by 3.5%. Now, in the 1991 recession, home prices did decrease by 1.9%, and while that's not pleasant, it's certainly not a financial disaster. In the 2001 recession, homes still appreciated by 6.6%. Now, the big one that we all remember, the 2008 recession, that's the one that scares everybody. What you need to remember about that recession is it was the lending industry, not the GDP, that caused that recession. Fraudulent and risky lending practices driven by greed caused the collapse of our financial markets, and everything else tumbled like dominoes right after it. That was a very unusual situation, and since then, safeguards have been put into place to prevent that from occurring again. The recession we hear about in today's headlines, it is all related to the GDP, not a collapse of the financial markets. It's an entirely different situation. Just to summarize the effects of past recessions on the housing market, here's a graph of what I just stated regarding home prices. When we look at the first 4 recessions as usual and ordinary recurring recessions, the housing market fares pretty well. It was the greed of the financial industry in 2008 that killed the housing market. Of the hundreds of economists who are predicting an upcoming recession, none of them are predicting a collapse of the financial markets. They are predicting a reduction in the GDP. It's a totally different situation. So the bottom line is this: do not let the headlines of an upcoming recession put fear in your mind about a housing market collapse. Okay, let's move on to our local housing market. What's going on in our local market? To keep this short, I'm going to focus on 2 local areas that I'm very familiar with: the Greater Bothell area and the Greater Mill Creek area. As you can see here, I'm defining Greater Bothell as Northeast 145th on the south and State Route 524 on the north. After we look at the Greater Bothell area, we'll look at the Greater Mill Creek area. And you can see here, as we go north from Bothell, the Mill Creek area picks up where Greater Bothell left off at State Route 524 and goes north to Painfield and State Route 526 and east over to Snohomish. So let's start with the Greater Bothell area. You can see the average sales price has been a bit of a roller coaster. Today's average price of $889,000 is up from a year ago, but about $20,000 below the peak in November. This chart also reflects the winter season that was very rough on the market, dipping well below $840,000. You can see the average days on markets increased to 23 days from 18 days a year ago, and the winter season was a little tough on the market when it skyrocketed to 67 days, but 23 days is more reminiscent of a normal market. Hey, wait a minute. Have you hit that subscribe button yet? Now would be a good time to do that. And click that reminder bell too. That way you'll get notified when I post new videos. Okay, let's stay on track and get back to what we were talking about. And the housing supply in Bothell is up to 2.6 months compared to 1.4 months. While this still indicates a strong seller's market, it does give a little breathing room for buyers to exercise their due diligence when shopping for a home. And total dollar volume closed is up to $84 million from last year's $76 million. But look at last May. The market was on fire. Now let's look at the greater Mill Creek area. The average sales prices remain relatively flat year over year, but it too has been a bit of a roller coaster. The average days on market is up year over year, but down from the 51 days of this past winter. The housing supply is up to 6 weeks from 4 weeks a year ago, but that's still a very strong seller's market, but it does give buyers a bit more breathing room. But year over year dollar volume is down from 176 million a year ago. Now here's all that same data in a spreadsheet for easy comparison. In the greater Bothell area, we had to look at properties over $599,000 because homes below that price point were statistically insignificant and skewing the numbers. And in the greater Mill Creek area, we had to look at properties in excess of $439,000 for the exact same reason. So in Bothell, you can see the year-over-year sales price is up. Days on market are up a little, which is a little good news for buyers. And same with the supply of houses. It's up and total dollar volume is up. So the market in the greater Bothell area is still really strong. Comparatively, when we look at the numbers in Mill Creek, average sales price is flat, days on the market's increased, and supply has increased, and total dollar volume is down. So if you're a buyer, there's the potential for some good value for you in this area. And that brings us to our final topic, affordability. Even with the increasing home prices, buying a home is more affordable than it has been in a long time. What you see on this chart from the National Association of Realtors is the percentage of the median income it takes to purchase the median priced home. And that number has been coming down and down, primarily because the interest rate's been coming down. As you can see on this chart, Freddie Mac is reporting as of last week, the national average interest rate for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage is down to 4.1%, making home ownership more affordable than ever. As you saw in the comparisons between the greater Bothell area and the greater Mill Creek area, different neighborhoods can become their own microeconomies. So it's important to work with a data-driven real estate agent who can help you find the best value to meet your needs and negotiate the best price for you. And when you're reading headlines about upcoming recessions, don't worry that the housing market is going to collapse. As we saw historically, recessions caused by a reduction in the GDP has had little effect on the housing market. Now, I hope you found value in today's video. I know you already clicked that subscribe button and that reminder bell, but if you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. That's feedback to me that I'm giving you information of value. And finally, please share this link with someone you know who can benefit from the information on this YouTube channel. You can find my email address and my telephone number in the description below. Call me or email me. I would love to hear from you. And I'd love to represent you in your next real estate transaction. I'm Bob.Woolverton. I'm with Pure Real Estate in Bellevue, Washington. Here on YouTube, I'm known as your Northwest Realty Advisor. Every week I post new videos about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, as well as some home tours and listing videos. I'll see you next week.